What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, I'm going to be talking about something I feel that the self-improvement community is getting wrong, and not necessarily getting wrong, but I think that both sides are right, but people are thinking so binary versus going one way to the right and then one way to the left. And I think that is causing a lot of people to kind of fuck up. And in my journey, I've experienced both sides of it. And these ideas are intensity and consistency. So let's define terms. What is intensity? To me, intensity is just when you are just pressing the gas pedal. You're just pressing the gas, pressing the gas, pressing the gas, pressing the gas. And consistency is when you're kind of leveling off and just staying relatively the same, and you're not going up in a very fast, jagged way. So when do you deploy these methods, and what do you commonly find this to be in the self-improvement community? A lot of people, and if you guys read self-improvement books or self-development books, or if you guys were in that space a long time ago and you guys kind of understand that stuff, what you'll find is that a lot of people talk about consistency. But what I find is that the people who are at the top use intensity. And you will find intensity in the ways of these 75 hard challenges, the monk modes, the periods of where people say they're locking in for a season. Sorry for the messed up camera. And they're locking in for a specific set of a period of time, like monk mode, like I said, and 75 hard. Periods of consistency are like your day-to-day life, the average, the things like that. So I would say that if you're looking at using one or the other, it depends on what phase of life you're in. As with everything, there are stages to life. Sometimes you'll need to deploy more intensity, and other times you'll need to deploy more consistency. Right now, for me personally, I'm entering back in a stage of more intensity, but it's not like hard fire, I'm going crazy, like I need to get this done. It's just kind of a little bit more intense. Versus before, the last like 2 to 3 months, I've been in a period of just straight consistency. I've been chilling, haven't really had much work to do, and little things like that. So they need to be used as a tool rather than a one set way of living. Now, I'm not saying that you can't live your way in accordance, live your life. Like, by all means, live your life. We're all going to die. It doesn't really matter in the end. But I would say that if you're trying to be more well-rounded, I would say that you should deploy it depending on what period of life you're in. If you're in a period of saying, okay, I have a lot of work, I have a lot of commitments to create, you might have to, you're just going to naturally flow and fob into a period of intensity. Now, if you have a little bit back and you may only have a couple hours of work to do every day, that's more of a thing of consistency. You're doing 4 hours of work a day. It's not like where you have meetings, work, you have school, where you have appointments to be doing. That's where the intensity periods come in. And when those periods come in, you can decide setting rules of saying what you have to get done versus what you think you should be doing and what you want to have fun, because those periods, to be honest, are probably the best you're ever going to feel, because after you get out of it, you'll just feel better. You'll feel alive. One note I have here is like, sometimes you will need periods of intensity and other times you will need the consistency. Like I said before, when we're looking at big entrepreneurs, we're looking at people who are like the top during the season, the regular season, they literally lock in. Like, for example, LeBron, he decides not to eat certain foods during the season. He tries to stay away from those foods. Another thing is when he does this thing called, I think it's like 30 dark 30 or something like that, where he goes off social media. He doesn't talk to his family during the playoffs and little things like that. I think he retired that a couple years back during COVID. But that is an example of another thing where you just lock in because you know you got to focus. This is a period of focus, and it's a period of immersion, which is very important. This brings me to the idea of there is no one set way of doing anything in this world. When we live in a world full of multiple variables. You can't solve for possibly everything, right? So in a world with multiple variables, there are multiple solutions to multiple problems, and there's no one set way of doing things. Now, that doesn't mean there's not an efficient way of doing things, which there always is more of an efficient way, but I feel like in this world now, we're so focused on trying to find like, oh yeah, this way versus this way, rather than just kind of ebbing and flowing, which is really the way I personally believe, and what I see with a lot of people in this space to be the way to get to that next level or wherever you're trying to go, whether you're a student, you're a business owner, you are an entrepreneur, like I already said, business owner, entrepreneur, whether you're just a stay-at-home mom, you're just trying to, perform at the best. You have to be able to ebb and flow out of those periods. It's not just one set way of doing something. There are no right answers to anything. Seriously. I know you were in school, possibly, if you're watching my channel. I know you were at school and I know you were doing those multiple choice problems, but try to get your mind out of this fog of thinking that just because it's A, B, C, or D on the paper, that's how life is going to be on the surface, because life is not like that. Things will get thrown at you in a way that is, you won't know it happening. Things just happen. And it's unexplainable. Some things you probably can explain, but other things you probably will not be able to explain given the context of the information you have. And then later on, when you look back in life, you'll figure out that it was all worth it and whatnot. So that's all I wanted to say, ladies and gentlemen. And just remember that the world is more nuanced than you think. It's not just doing one period of intensity and one period of consistency to get you where you want to go. It's a mix and ebbing and flowing of that set piece, intensity and consistency. So if you guys like the video, share it with somebody, and that's all my ask is. Have a good afternoon.